Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama. Welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the Pokemon 20th anniversary film, I Choose You.
In this reimagining of the first Pokemon episode, Ash and Pikachu set out to look for the legendary Pokemon Ho-Oh to challenge it to a Pokemon battle.
Yes.
I choose.
Yes.
I should explain to Sylvia now because she wants to know why. It was an episode of The Simpsons where Ralph gave Lisa a Valentine's Day card. And when she read it, it says, I choose you. And all the episode he kept saying to her, I choose you. So every time I see this movie, I choose you. All I think of is I choose you.
Right.
So we choose Pokemon. And you choose Ash. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this was actually the first Pokemon movie we saw. A little bit before we started watching the actual series. But I can understand why they say you might want to watch the show first. But when we watched this, and then we watched the first episode, we saw, they were kind of retelling the first episode,
right,
but making it into like one big movie, like a premiere, kind of like what Voltron did with the 1 hour special and
Except
stuff.
Voltron did it better for me because in their version, the animation, yes, they did improve it, but there were lots of details they left out.
Yeah.
And they totally made it seem like some of the important events were not that important. They were minor. They were just like a highlight on a highlight reel, and they kept going. And they left out some major characters we would have rather seen.
Yes, but definitely, yeah. And at first I kind of told Mama, like, I feel like this is almost like an alternate version. Then when we were looking online, it's actually, yes, this is part of a series called Alternate Timeline, where this is like a different outcome of the Pokemon franchise. So in here, Ash's journey is a little different. He still wants to be a Pokemon master, but they've now thrown in all sorts of things the original series didn't really have.
Right.
Like in this one, Brock and Misty are not in it. He doesn't meet them first. At the end of the movie, when they show sort of like the end credits, they show all the friends he makes throughout the series. So it looks like in here he doesn't meet them for a while.
And that to me really had an effect on the telling of the story. Brock and Misty were very important in the season.
Right.
You've come to expect to see them. You like seeing them. You like their characters. And to leave them out, to me, it was kind of like, why?
Right. And in here, he meets two other characters. It's, what was the name? It was, was it Sorrel? Was Sorrel one of them, I think? Sorrel and Verity. I think that was them, yeah. And we were kind of surprised, like, okay, well, maybe they wanted to introduce new characters.
Sorrel was a young Pokemon professor.
Oh, I thought it was one of the kids.
The trainer Verity was the trainer.
Oh, okay. I thought all this time. Okay. Okay, well, for here, these kids take place of Brock and Misty. And they're given totally different personalities, even though they're kind of similar in a little bit to Brock and Misty. Like, the girl is sort of really outgoing like Misty. She's got Pokemon she really clings to. And then the one that's a little bit like Brock is sort of like, almost like a Pokemon doctor. And he's not a breeder, and he's not a chef or anything, but he's, in a sense, can take care of Pokemon like Brock. So you kind of saw they were like temporary replacements for some reason. We didn't understand why.
Right. And the great thing about it, and there are some good things about the movies, we got to see a whole variety of Pokemon.
Right, from throughout the show.
Right, and Butterfrees, and of course Pikachus, and lots of ones that some of them just had like a cameo appearance, really.
Yeah, because like you said, they gotta get stuff from all over the series. It's not just the first series. They're getting stuff from the original, from the new one, from in between. It's Pokemon from all over. Then there was even a point where they had NT in there. I'm like, okay, they had a whole movie where you didn't know he was real or not, and then he's just walking around and everyone can challenge him. I'm like, okay, I know it's alternate, but I was like, okay, that's a little odd.
Yeah, after seeing the series, chronologically for us, it was pretty odd.
And for me,
Butterfree, the way it was in here, you didn't get to see the relationship that Ash had built. Why he cried when he left, and why Butterfree didn't want to leave. And it was so short, it was like, okay, he's gone. Why should Ash care? Because you've known him all of 5 seconds.
Right, he evolved fast.
Right, but if you watch the series, then you understand what built and how it was tough for them to leave each other, and it was one of those tissue moments
Right.
in Pokemon.
And for me, there was one thing that was probably the worst part of the movie. Like you said, there were great parts, like with the animation, seeing all the different Pokemon, attempting to do something like an alternate way if they rebooted the series. Those were all interesting. For me, the worst part of this movie is that Team Rocket are reduced to cameos. Ash never meets them. They never meet Ash, and they're just there because they know they'll get in trouble. They don't put them in there.
Right.
And I wanted to cry, so they were just there.
Yes, that was one of the most unfortunate parts of this movie. And another was Ash, how they kind of changed his personality. Ash is known throughout this series, at least as far as we've watched, we're up to season 9 now. He loves a Pokemon. Mm-hmm. He sees them as friends. He sees them as loved ones. But in this one, he was being mean to Pikachu, which was that was not Ash.
Yeah, that was really, it was really off.
And it's something we never would have seen him do in the original series. He's never been mean like that to Pikachu.
Right. The only time when he may go a little far in their training when they're tired, but it doesn't get to a state of being, almost
cruel
abusive or
saying
anything.
Things to them that are horrible.
Yeah,
so that was one part that I really didn't like about this movie.
And it was weird because they kept the part where he was risking his life for Pikachu and Pikachu saved him and became friends. They kept that whole part from the first episode intact. But then they get to down the line and he's training on his own. He's a while before he meets anybody that joins him. And then this comes out of his mouth where he probably been better off without Pikachu. It's like, okay, what happened to that bond? It's like they're saying that it doesn't mean anything in this instance. And it's so bizarre because, like you said, of how you're going to attach to Ash and Pikachu's bond and how much it means to them throughout this entire franchise. And for them, when they do this reboot, it's like they're saying he still had to get used to Pikachu or something, or he had to get over a personal obstacle. And then there was a moment in there. They have this dark Pokemon that invades dreams, I think, and Ash was in another universe. I don't know where the hell that came from, but Ash went to, it was like the original Full Metal Alchemist, and we didn't know if it was a dream or not, but he was in this alternate universe where it was the real world. Right. He was going to school. There were no Pokemon or anything. He was in a real school and it was normal.
And he was having the little flashes that were letting him know something was not.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that was something that comes up later in the series, or this is something they want to implicate with having alternate universes where Pokemon's an alternate universe to the real world, and they want to throw that in there. That could be something, but the way they did in here was so bizarre because you're going through this Pokemon, this journey, and Ho-Oh and stuff, and all of a sudden you're getting alternate universes.
Yeah, that was very odd. One other thing in here that didn't work, and then we'll try to mention some more things that did work, is Cross. He got a bigger role in this movie. He was cruel to Charmander. He left him to die, and then suddenly he wants to be the one to fight Ho-Oh.
Yeah, I think
and he didn't care what happened to anyone as long as he got to do what he wanted to do. Why would you do like Full Metal Alchemist and give this guy like what's the doctor's name? Full Metal Alchemist. Tucker. A role that was a starring role or a bigger role. We didn't want to see this kid have a bigger role.
Right, he was a jerk. Right, and it was a reason why he only had one episode.
Right, and it should have been just a blip like some of these other events. You seen it, you find out how you got Charmander, and he takes his butt on. But no, you make him an integral part of the movie when, I don't think there are very many people who want it.
All these characters, you take out Team Rocket for this guy and other characters, and
I understand that they wanted to give it more drama and make it darker, but there were other ways this could have been done without focusing on this jerk.
Right. And then, like you said, there's also a kind of implication of Pokemon abuse, which is something that actually came up in the series way prior to this. There were times when the show was accused by the PETA or PETA that they were supporting animal abuse because of all the Pokemon battles, and they thought it reflected real life. They thought it was supporting that. They said, no, it's not like that. But for here, you kind of get a lot of undertones of animal abuse because there are a lot of times, not just for Cross, because that was part of that. Right. They just kind of went further where not just leaving him is where he just kind of kicks him. The Charmander wanted to go back to him. He was happy to see him. He just kind of literally kicks him They didn't want him, and they kind of elevated this thing with the Pokemon getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They even had the reference to where Ash was stuck in the snowstorm and all the Pokemon wanted to be with him. And he told them to get back in the balls. And they didn't want to get back in the balls. They wanted to be with him so he'd stay warm. And they kind of took that and gave it to this other kid. I think it was Sorrel. I think it was the boy.
Which didn't make sense.
Yeah,
because that's one of the most iconic episodes.
Right.
That you really cried at. I mean, I'm sorry, I cried on that episode.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And they kind of had that in there where it was cold. And they did it twice. Once the Pokemon that they had that kind of was the companion, they put them in the balls, they stayed warm, they came back out, and they refused to go back in the ball. They wanted to be with them. Mm-hmm. Then they did it a second time with Sorrel, where it said he had a Pokemon, and he was lost in this, and the boy was lost in the snow, and his Pokemon went to look for him. He couldn't bring him back, so he covered him up, and he passed away the next morning because he was saving him and couldn't bring him back. Right. So they started bringing in this weird element where Pokemon would do self-sacrifices for their trainers, and they did a lot here and in The Power of Us in future movies. For some reason, this one seems to be really into having the Pokemon sacrifice themselves for the trainers. And while it can happen, it's a little much because it's really dark the way it has it. Because it happens so fast and they really harp on it. And it's supposed to be having fun. Pokemon's a fun franchise. Mm-hmm. It's fun movies, fun things, even when they have their dark elements. To see them really go this far, almost on a Disney level, where they can't even keep the Pokemon because they're killing off the Pokemon, saving their trainers, or doing things for them because they care about them so much. It's supposed to come off as that's how deep the loyalty goes, but it more or less comes off as unnecessary sadness.
Right. Well, I have to say that I do like the scene where Pikachu telepathically told him, "I always want to be with you."
Yeah.
It was, oh my gosh, and to me it was hard.
Yeah, it's like, what? It's supposed to explain
Ash knows now.
Right.
And I did like that part because Pikachu didn't speak. He just telepathically heard Pikachu.
Right.
And for me, that was okay. Also, during this movie, I guess because of the time it was made, there were different people voicing Jessie and James and Meowth and Professor Oak. And, of course, it was obvious that it didn't sound the same.
Right.
And that part, because we were really new viewers, we were only on season 9, it was odd for us to hear different people doing the voices.
Right. And it seemed like for fans, like I said, it received mixed reviews. There are people that did like the movie, and it's great. But there were people that were longtime fans, and they noticed a lot of these changes were unnecessary, or they were kind of changing what Pokemon was. I mean, throughout the movie, you kind of feel a little lost on what this movie is. Is it really trying to retell Pokemon in a new way, or are they trying to change Pokemon altogether?
Or is it their affiliation with Disney? Because as we know, Disney is rebooting every single part of the franchise, movie, and everything they've had. Maybe that's part of it. Hopefully they won't do this with every movie, because I have to say the movies are a great part of watching the Pokemon franchise. There's some we love, there's some we like not so much, but we look forward to every season, that pivotal movie, watching it and enjoying it and seeing how it adds to the storytelling for the season. So hopefully this was like just maybe a blip on the radar. It was something they tried that didn't work so well, and maybe they won't try to remake another movie. Well, they already did. Yeah, Mewtwo fights back.
Yeah, that and Power of Us and stuff. All these movies are now.
So maybe it's the Disney affiliation. Maybe it's an agreement they've made as part of it, where Disney says, "Hey, we're rebooting everything. Hey, let's try that with the Pokemon movies. As long as they do it with the movies and not with the series in its entirety, I'm okay."
Okay. And two more things I would definitely want to mention. One would be when it gets close to the end of the movie and they have Ho-Oh. Well, they kind of have this thing in the show where Ash is looking for him, and so far we haven't seen it come back. And here they kind of just have him looking for it specifically, and then they get into this big battle. They don't even know who won because it gets into this whole thing where darkness wants to take over the world. and it was kind of weird. And then they even bring in where Ash dies for a minute, and it's like, wait a minute, quit bringing all this in. and it was just so weird, because the first movie when it happened, you knew Ash had to come back because it's been 20 years he's still in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And here it was sort of a surprise they went there because they're seeming to really be into, like I said, self-sacrifice with this movie. And the last thing I want to mention, don't take out Team Rocket again.
Yes.
Don't take them out because you ruined the whole movie by taking them out of the movie.
I agree.
And you know that people adore them. Why would you take them out of the movie and have them do literally nothing but just come in and blast off? That's all they do the whole movie.
And I really wish you would bring back the original voice actors. We don't care how old they are. We love them. If you've seen I Choo Choo Choose You, let us know what you think in the comments below. Whether you love it, you hate it, or it was just something that was passing time for you as part of the Pokemon franchise.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on Paws Podcast.
And as well as our continuation of covering the Pokemon franchise.
Yes, so thank you so much for watching. I'm Oscar Entertainment.
I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace and thank you for choosing us. Bye, Sylvian.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man. Who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket. People in the back, for the people in the front, for the people on the side, for the people on the front, for the people in the middle or the alley, want to bump and everybody.